Okay. Should it not give us some information that we are recording?
Yeah, it's recording.
Yeah, okay. All right, so thank you for those of you that woke up very early in the morning, or maybe you never went to sleep. I'm not 100% sure. In Brazil and Canada. And to you guys here managing to come up the hill to computer science department. This is our third and unfortunately last messenger project meeting. So it is in a way a bonus meeting because we only promised actually to have 2 physical meetings. And then we saw, oh, we have a bit of additional funds, we can get you guys here again. Sorry that we don't have Elaine in person, but you know, family comes first, and that's all right. So I'm going to start reminding ourselves what Messenger is about, and then I'm going to hand it over to. Well, we have the agenda here, so I hope everybody has the agenda. Yeah, maybe I should share the link to the. Where's my mouse? The link to the Messenger project so that you could also look at the agenda. Okay, so did you manage, Shakira, to put the new agenda on, or?
Yes, it's sent.
Okay, chat.
Or shall I send again?
Well,
Let me
I
do that now.
can put it here. So this is the Messenger agenda, and if you actually go there on the website, which we're going to do in a second anyhow, but this is the website, all the way to the bottom should be the agenda from today, and beautiful pictures before that. So this is the agenda of today. Messenger project is back in Durham. Okay. Right, so I'm moving this out again. Right, so let's remind ourselves what this project is about. So Messenger project is based on Athena Swan, and it's funded by the British Council, and it's called Women in STEM and Cultural Diversity, and it has this long title, Empowering Women in Science Through Mentoring and Exchanging Experiences. And we have a wonderful acronym generator. So we called it in short Messenger, because I think it's a message for from the UK to Brazil, and hopefully also backwards, really, because we're very interested in all the things that you had to tell us. And also when we visited there, I think it was a massive learning experience for us as well. So let's see if I can go next slide from here. So I said this has been a new initiative by the UK-Brazil Gender Equality Partnership, and basically funded a couple of visits and workshops like this. And the idea was to support the development of institutional policies and practices that will enable progress towards achieving gender equality in science, technology, and higher education in Brazil. It is a very high goal, and I think that we're not completely there even in the UK, but the idea was to exchange best practices and exchange experiences, also not so good practices and not so good experiences, because we learn from all of a mixture of those. We are basically in the first bit of the responsibilities. So UK and Brazilian higher education, science and technology institutions. The main outcome is sustainable partnership between Brazil and UK, that we're developing it and fostering gender equality in science, technology, and higher education institutions to Brazil. So hopefully we've created a sustainable partnership, and we're going to continue looking into more ways of improving the situation with gender equality. But we're going to discuss this also after my talk, also what's been happening in your institutions. So just to remind you, we were one of, what was it, I think 9 or 8, I don't remember exactly, projects only that were selected, so in the whole of UK, so it was quite competitive, and it's very nice that the name of Durham is here. We also, when we look geographically, I don't think I have a slide for that, but I think we noticed that we're the only ones that are also targeting the middle of Brazil, which, because everybody was concentrated, if you look at in the region Sao Paulo and the seaside, basically. And I think that that's important to look at different regions and not just one. Okay, so this was our main goal, empowering women in science. That was also part of our title. Yes, of course. I need to go this way. Right, we have Eric joining us as well. All right, so we defined 7 main phases of interaction. I can remind ourselves a little bit about those. We basically had a kickoff meeting where we discussed how important it is to have girls in STEM, but we actually, since the first step of the way, we started mixing and matching the phases, because we started already discussing things like online and hybrid meetings, and we did a bit of mentoring as a follow-up of the kickoff meeting. So we had sort of an organic growth of this project based on the needs, as opposed to dictated from above from some kind of initial, let's say, English perceptions, or at least UK perceptions. I don't know to what extent I can call myself English. Okay, so I'm not going to go into details here. What I'm going to do instead, let's see, is to go to the website where we said what we actually did. Right, so this is the website. This is the website, right? And we can project this one. And we can go through our history in time from here. It's more or less central now. Right. So this bit I already discussed. I should possibly mention that I am very thankful to our partners. So we had from UK also Sue Black, who unfortunately cannot be at the moment with us because she's traveling the world and giving talks in all sorts of interesting places. And we had from UFAM Elaine, Professor Elaine Harada de Oliveira, who's going to give a talk and tell us more about the impact in at the University of Amazonas. And then from Santa Catarina University, we have Isabela Gasparini, and she's going to also talk later on. And I'm going to present the rest of the guests a bit later. So these are, I think a picture says 1,000 words. So we have made pictures and taken pictures of the various stages of our project. This was a snapshot from our kickoff meeting. Okay, I was talking, hence I look wonderful with my mouth open, but in any case, we were, as you can see, still online back then and totally online. I'm really happy that we had the chance to have some face-to-face meetings after this, even if some of them are hybrid. Okay, so, and we discussed quite openly various things that we perceived. To some extent, we discussed, if you remember, also that one of the perceptions, there are no problems with women in science, and then when we dug a bit deeper, we started looking at, okay, what is it really the case, or maybe it's just a perception because that's what we perceive as normality, and not necessarily that it's actually a fair situation. One of the things that did come out of that workshop also was that we definitely need to understand more about mentoring, because before we start asking people to be mentors, we need to know what it is. So we prepared a mentoring workshop with the wonderful Donna Hertzman, who also helped us in the Tech Up project. And She gave us an excellent talk, and it's still available to access to people if they want to have a look at it. I don't know if we have the link here actually, but we should probably put all the links here so that people can access them. Yeah, explain to us a bit more about how a mentor is basically a supportive person, and lets in the end the main person, the mentee, to figure out to some extent by themselves. It's enabling. It's an enabling function as opposed to a dictating function of what somebody should be doing. And a lot of wonderful tips and things. So yeah, do have a look at that if you want to learn more about mentoring. Then we had a meeting at Durham University, and we had various people from Durham as well. For instance, Rachel Archbold telling us about the PNAS-1 application and practice at Durham as head of EDI at Durham University. And we had also Sue Black talking about this as a technology evangelist. Then we had the presenters from UDESC. We had also Luis Coelho. Well, we didn't have him personally, but it was a talk from him. Okay, that's different. Thank you. And we had also from Antonio Sousa, the Dean of Technology in UDESC, a welcome. And then Isabela, who's with us till the end, with telling us more about the situation in Brazil. Then we had undergraduate presentation, which was very useful to hear from a Durham University student and their perception of what it is to be a woman in science as an undergraduate. And we had also presentation from a PhD student from their perspective. And then we had a presentation from UFAM. And similarly, we had greetings, and we had Elaine talking to us about the situation at the Federal University of the Amazonas. And here are some beautiful pictures from that meeting, which we can see very well. It's very hybrid, like this one. Then Sue and I managed to go to Brazil, and it was wonderful to have to do the trip there. And we went to 3 different places. So we went to Sao Paulo, we went to Joinville, and we went to Manaus. Yes, and we managed to meet with people in all 3 places and discuss PNAS-1 and discuss women in science in general. And these are some notes from the meeting where we met Ana Rosa Bradao, Renata Wasserman, and Fabio Kozman. And my postdoc, Armando Toda, was there and giving us a lot of support at Sao Paulo. And this is what we were talking about. And here is a snapshot of that meeting. Then we had in Joinville a massive meeting, thanks to Isa. And here is a selfie, the way only Sue can do, because she's the mistress of selfies, with everybody actually looking relatively happy. And we had lots of questions, a lot of discussion, and here are more of the various people that were there, and also our meeting notes. And then we had a meeting in Manaus, where it was very, very hot, so we dropped a bit of formality level. Certainly I did. And red I was in the face, and we had these lovely t-shirts made. Oh yeah, that was very, very nice, with UK and Brazil and Women in Science, which was a lovely surprise. And I still have that t-shirt. I should have brought it today as well. Yeah, here's a picture of the t-shirt itself. It's a lovely thing with all the circuits there and women in STEM. Very nice. I was, as you can see, very enamored of it. Right, and now we're here. We're back at Durham, and we have Elaine remotely, and we have Isa face to face, and we also are welcoming Professor Rafael Ferreira, who's joining us, and I surely know which university you're from. So I don't know. Here it says Caesar School. Is that what you want to be known as?
Yes, yes. It's
Okay.
the research institute.
Okay. All right. So before I give the floor to okay, so maybe I should go a bit lower actually. Instead of explaining Athena Swan in the UK, I want to show, so we also had lots of meetings beside the ones that I showed here that were only our project. We had lots of meetings, certainly Isa and Elaine and myself and Sue. We went to lots of workshops with the rest of the 9 successful applicants for this call, and with organizers from the British Council. And this is the result of all the various discussions. So Athena Swan came up with a number of principles, a framework of equality, and the Brazil workshops came up with their own. So this is also here on the website, and it's adapted to Brazil and its needs. So some things are similar. So for instance, we acknowledge that academia cannot reach its full potential unless we can benefit from the talents of all. We can commit to advancing gender and race equality in academia. So race equality is something that has been now also put in Athena Swan. It wasn't initially, it was mainly about gender, but that has been extended in both, and I think it was considered even more important in Brazil as well. And it says in particular addressing the loss of women in general and Black, Indigenous, Quilomba women and women from other underrepresented and historically marginalized groups across the career pipeline, and the absence of women from senior academic roles. So this part is specifically for Brazil. We commit to addressing unequal gender and race representation across academic disciplines. In this, we recognize disciplinary differences, including the particularly high loss rate of women in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and medicine. So the STEM with double M. The idea being that basically Athena Swan is recognizing what we call the leaking pipeline at every step of the way. So from school to undergraduate education, we lose more women, and then from undergraduate education to postgraduate taught education, we lose more women, and then from postgraduate taught to postgraduate research, and then goes on with, well, okay, what we call in the UK assistant, associate, and full professor level, and there's slightly different levels in Brazil, and depending also on the university, even in the UK, they're slightly different. We have things like teaching fellows, etc. But the idea is that at every step of the way, there are less women, and how we address that. So committing to tackling the gender and race pay gap, and bullying and harassment, including moral harassment, sexual harassment, and gender-based violence. And we commit to removing obstacles faced by women, especially Black, Indigenous, Quilomba women, and other underrepresented and historically marginalized groups at the major points of career development and progression, including the transition from PhD into a sustainable academic career. So this seems to have been looked at as very important for Brazil specifically. And then we commit to addressing the negative consequences of using short-term contracts for the retention and progression of staff in academia, particularly, again, women and Black, Indigenous, Quilomba women, and women from other underrepresented and historically marginalized groups. So this is something that we are trying also a lot to do in the UK with the short-term contracts. So it turned out that especially women, but also people from different underrepresented communities, they would be more likely to be hired on short-term contracts, and then they live on a number of short-term contracts and have never some clear stability in their lives, and also clear progression mode and so forth. So they could forever remain in that kind of position, and that's not considered acceptable, basically. And then we commit to tackling the discriminatory treatment often experienced by gender non-conforming people, including trans, non-binary, and gender fluid people, and acknowledge advancing equality demands commitment and action from all levels of the organization, in particular active leadership from those in senior roles. So of course, it's very nice for people to say we should do this and that, but if the senior representatives don't take a leading role into this and push it forward. And we were lucky, and certainly in the computer science department, we're lucky to have head of department who really wanted to push forward the agenda of gender equality in general, and also generally speaking diversity. But at the level of university, we have now actually a pro-vice chancellor for a new pro-vice chancellor for EDI specifically. So that's a new role created because the university is recognizing that it's something that is important. But this is the kind of thing that maybe it's worth discussing later, you know, to what extent this is applicable at the university, any changes made as a result of our visit and this project. And we commit to making and mainstreaming sustainable structural and cultural changes to advance equality, recognizing that initiatives and actions that support individuals alone will not sufficiently advance equality. Okay, so I thought it was important to read this, although it eats a bit into the time, but hopefully this gives us a general framework in which to function. And again, I'm thanking our guests, and I think the next on our program is a short video from George to explain a bit about our experience with Otina Swan. So I should stop sharing, and unless there's any questions, I could take some quick questions or comments. If not, Shakira, you want to put the video for George? Do you need some short break for this, or you're okay? We still have, you're mute at the moment. I can see you talking, but you're mute. And there's a small other problem. One second, because we don't see very much here. No, I still don't hear you. I'm just gonna.
Okay, I'm going to be sharing my screen now.
Okay. I'm trying to close this. Yeah.
Sorry, just a second. I'm having some technical issues, sorry.
Problem, I'm also having technical issues at this side, but I'm getting there. There we go. I'm projecting you now.
Okay. Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
No, we see you and we hear you, but we don't see your screen.
Okay. I'm so sorry, it's taking a while because of, it's not going through. I'm trying to share my screen.
Yeah, you're there. Excellent. So I should explain first 1 second. So George is co-director of EDI in the computer science department, and together with Sue. And he unfortunately couldn't be today here, but he's going to meet you separately on Friday. We arranged a face-to-face meeting, but I thought we're having now the main meeting. We should hear from him a bit about Otina Swan and what's going on in the department. Okay, so
I think the sound is.
You're not sharing the sound, I think. Shakira, we don't hear the sound. What is she going to do? No, we don't hear it.
Oh my.
Do you have the link?
Can everyone hear the video, please?
No, we don't hear the video. We see the
We
video,
don't.
Oh my.
but we don't hear it.
The only other option is I sent the video to Alexandra's email just shortly before we started the meeting. If maybe you'd share your screen.
You can put in chat.
In the chat, yeah, you could put it in the chat, I suppose.
Okay, okay, I'll do that now.
If not, I'm going to start inviting our speakers, our guests to talk about their experience. So we have at the moment, we have the order, Rafael, Elaine, Isabela, but I was thinking that considering that Rafael is new to in our midst, perhaps we should start with people that have already experience with this. So perhaps I suggest that we have Isabela, who's here face to face anyway, starting, and then Elaine following up in her allocated place, and then last but not least, we'll hear a bit from Rafael and what he thinks of all this.
Sounds good.
And it's good, by the way, to have a man here with us as well, because this is not just about women, this is about everybody buying in, as our EDI director was saying. So it's really nice to see.
And we have Eric in Brazil too.
And we have Eric. Yes, hello, Eric. Yes. Early good morning to you as well. Okay, so in which case, is that all right, Isabela, to ask you to share screen? Okay, perfect. The floor is yours.
So, hello everybody. Please take a picture, one picture.
Okay.
Here, Rafa.
How do we make the that way or okay? Right.
Take one from the.
You could do some sort of selfie kind of thing, or yeah, that's it. Just try to get us all smile. Put your cameras on, guys. Eric, can you put your camera on as well? Because we're taking pictures. If you can.
Because of the website. Thank you.
All right. Okay.
So, thank you everybody here. Thank you, people from Brazil and Canada, Shakira. So, today I will present some additional data that we found after our meetings and our outcomes. So let me remember that we are in Santa Catarina State University, that is in the south of Brazil. That is a state called Santa Catarina. That only this state is bigger than Portugal. Imagine the Amazon, right? So Joinville, it's one of the places, one of the city that we have our university. Our university is decentralized. So we have a lot of cities that we have some center of the university. And this is my city that I'm living there, it's Joinville. It's a really nice city to stay. It's the capital of the dance. We have the Mundial Festival of the dance that, and the only school of Bolshoi outside Russia. So this.
Can I stop you a second? Okay. Maybe if I mute here, you can unmute yourself, and then maybe you can. Yeah.
You prefer that?
No.
I think it was clearer the way it was before because
Okay.
online.
Hear me, Elaine? You hear me?
Yes, yes, I do.
Okay.
I'm trying to not get. Okay. So you are all welcome to stay with us in Joinville. Okay. So this data I already showed you before. So in our university, regarding the teachers, not the professors, we have the whole university. We have some balance in the female and male professors, but actually when we see the STEM professors, this balance disappears. And if you see only the tech teachers, we have only 52% of women. And this is the same with the undergraduate students. So we have 4 courses at UDESC, and the balancing is not quite good as well. And this actually is a reflection in Brazil as well. We have show you before the data from Brazil, and this is quite similar than this graphic appears. So we have an initiative at UDESC that's called Catarinas, the same name from the States. And we have a lot of professors together that work with us, and a lot of students, male and female students. This is an extension project that we leave the computer science in high schools and elementary schools and inside universities as well. A lot of initiatives. This is some pictures of some initiatives that we had. And now we're start after of course, the pandemic didn't finish yet, but we getting starting last year and to do a lot of things nowadays. So right now I will present some new data, new analysis that we did. The group of scientific initiation from undergraduate students and master students as well. This data is from National Institute of Education Studies that present the data. It's an open data that Brazil give us to do the analysis. So when we see not only UDESC, but all the other Santa Catarina public universities, we see this balance is maintained. So all the universities has to balance the female and male students in the tech undergrad courses. And the dropout rates are not quite good as well. And you imagine we are 2 less women, but in absolute data, we the women get out earlier, drop out the tech undergrad courses. So we have to do more initiatives to combat that. And when we see the rates, the dropout rates by gender and age, as we can see, the orange, the worst. So when they get older, it's harder to maintain university. So in the left, we can see the percent of female students by university by year. And as we can see, it's less than 50% of women in tech. And the male, it's on the other hand, is a lot of male in tech undergrad courses. As we can see, the percent of students by race, without the people who declared white, we saw that majority, of course, it's Caucasian, it's the people who declared white, and just a few people that is declared black or yellow or indigenous. And we have a lot of people that declared that they don't want to declare anything. And this is interesting because as we can see, in 2015, we had a lot of people who declared, I don't want to declare my race. This is the graph that only we see the increase of the declaration, okay? Because of this, the white people that is in blue is not in the top, because we already have the white people, the percentage is almost 18%, but the increasement of white people is not high. And we have, for example, in Brazil, universities, the declaration of people that don't want to declare. And right now, in 2019, the people who want to declare is higher. And we think this is a great thing. So maybe some things, of course, there are a lot of policies to include people in Brazil. They start with 2004 with inclusions. And I think we saw with this graph, these actually help in this way. And unfortunately, about the students with disabilities in universities, we have only 3% of people with disabilities in tech undergrad. So because we are discussing about equality and diversity, right? And not only regarding women, but regarding human, race, and actually with people with disabilities as well. So we think the public policies are not supporting to people with some disabilities to get in tech undergrad courses. This is another graph that we did regarding what kind of disabilities, and we see it that most of the people that is in university, it's with low vision, but we have auditory and physical as well. And some types of syndrome of Asperger and autism as well. So this data is from the research of my undergrad students that are represented here, and also they are in this meeting as well, some of them. And regarding Maria's master student as well. We have others researches going on. We have games to include and to put women in the scene and to know about women in the elementary schools. And now other outcomes that we had after our meetings, that we starting to study Atenas 1, Brazil equality. Alexandra already told the framework, but we are trying to analyze how can we get into university. And we do some analysis of equality policies in Brazilian universities. So we search what kind of policies we have in other universities. One that we found is in Unicamp. We had some guidance to how to be polite and how to not disturb, like ethical stuff. And we are studied that. And after that, we went to proposition of equality policies in our universities. And of course, other initiatives to bring girls to our area. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right, any questions? Okay, so we have no questions now. I wonder, shall we take a very brief break till 11 o'clock and then start again? with Elaine's presentation, if that's okay, Elaine, with you.
It's okay. Like a 5-minute break. That's it. Is that it? Okay.
That's okay. And you can start sharing the screen, so check it
Okay.
out. Okay, so our next speaker is Elaine Oliveira from UFAM, from Manaus. So welcome from Brazil in the early mornings.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Hello, everyone. As Alexandra said, I'm Elaine, talking from Manaus. It's a pity I'm not there, but I'm really happy that you are, and we are meeting online. Well, I'm not gonna bring new data. In this presentation, I'll try to share a little bit of just a minute. Professor Alexandra and Professor Sue visit and the impact it had in our community. So these are some nice snapshots of that visit. We have, in this meeting, it was in September 26th, and we had around 70 attendees. It was over my expectation because we were in a break. And so we had a lot of people there. And we had first Alexandra and Sue Black talking. And I would like to say that was really nice, wonderful to us to hear about inclusion, about diversity, about having women in scientific career. It was very inspiring to us and to our undergrad students and other professors. So thank you very much for that. We had Professor Fabiola talking about women in STEM at UFAM. And we had two undergrad, I mean, they were graduate students, but they were talking about their experience as computer science undergrad students, Julia and Lorena. I'm gonna share first something about their talk, Julia and Lorena. These girls were like awesome. They were very good students. And their talk was very touching and also inspiring. And some points that they shared with us and made me think a little bit more about their difficulties was that they really shared their feelings, and it was really, really nice to hear them. I never heard that from them, so it was really nice. They told us that they had to deal with the imposter syndrome, and that's really common, really usual that girls in computer science programs, they have to deal with that. So I heard of that, but it was kind of new to me. And later, Alexandra and I and another friend, we talked a little bit about it. Maybe it's more usual than we think. They also said that it was really important to find female peers to support and to share experience and feelings. So it was really important to have other girls in the program, and in courses where we have a lot of guys, a lot of boys, it's really interesting and important to hear that it's important to have girls there. And they said that it was also important to have classes with female professors because they felt empathy and comfort. And it was nice to hear that too. In a program where we have 35 professors and 7 are female, maybe during their program, they will have classes with not all we 7, maybe 3 or 4 of us. So I usually give classes to them at not mandatory discipline. So this was an opportunity to hear from them. And they also said it was really important to have women to look up to At the time they were undergrad, the head of this institute was a woman. The president of the Computer Science Academic Center was a girl. So it was important to see them in an important role. It was important to see researchers with remarkable work and research groups, not only men as researchers, as good researchers. And they also had a female thesis advisor, and they said it was really important too. So this talk from them, Julia and Lorena, was really important to me to hear from them, what they felt, how was it in their course, and it made me feel more, I don't know the word, sorry. But it was really,
Somebody will translate.
I think civil, more sensible to what happens in the program with the girls, and something I maybe I never thought about. Okay, so and then Professor Fabiola talked. Professor Fabiola is our representative in the EDI committee. So she has a lot of knowledge and initiatives, and it was very nice to hear from all the initiatives we have at UFAM. So she talked mainly about 3: Caboclas, Quiromboa, Awete in science, Cunhantã Digital, that's a huge program, and Woman in STEM from a super project. I'm going to talk very briefly for all of them. So this Caboclas, Quiromboa, Awete is from the math department of mathematics. It's about female empowerment. So girls can be mathematicians, girls can be scientists, and it's a very interesting program run in the math department. Cunhantã Digital is a very huge program in our institute, and the focus is the youth, the schools, and it's originated from a national program that's called Meninas Digitais. So they have a lot of actions, and these are only some pictures in workshops, conference. They usually do some activities. We also go to high school fairs, so we can announce and take doubts about our programs. They also go to schools to do makers workshops and labs. And there is a very innovative initiative that's called Smart Girls under Cunhantã Digital. So they hired, it's a project, so they hired some young actresses, and they played some roles they made some expositions and some movies, short movies, about some important scientists, professionals from science. So these are the characters, and these are the actresses. And the Woman in STEM from Super Project is to encourage a woman to remain in our courses because dropout is very high. So they do have a lot of actions too. And they have handbooks, they have coffees on Fridays, they have mentorships, they have online meetings, they have a lot of things. And to sum up, our initiatives are to support a network, and this is what we are doing, a network in UFAM, outside Brazil. Constant positive reinforcement. So always saying, you can do it, you were good, you are able to do it. Do some practical activities, not just talk. Invite women to the table to discuss, to present, to tell their experience. Highlight women's contribution. Sometimes we know what men did, but we don't know what women did, their contributions. And reach other people like men, family, friends, not only women, as we said earlier. So this is what I brought today, and thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much. Elaine.
Thank you.
Very nice to hear all the various outcomes of our being there, and also
Mm-mm.
the memory lane of what has happened. Okay, but more pictures.
It was wonderful. Wonderful. Nice. Very nice.
And it was lovely seeing the Amazon River and everything. That was also really exciting for the likes of us. I made some notes, but I'll ask, I think, maybe later at the discussion. So unless there's some burning questions now for you from anybody. Okay. In which case, shall we move on to Rafael, who is representing more than one university, I think. No, you'll tell us all about it, I'm sure.
Yes.
Okay. So welcome, first of all, and it's good to have you here. And it's always good to talk also about the human aspects of our lives, beside of all the research and the cool stuff that we're doing for research, which is also very exciting, but there's more to life than that. So sometimes it's useful to acknowledge. All right, so the floor is yours, Rafael.
Okay, thank you very much, Alexandra, Elaine, Isabela, for the invitation. I think I'm here more to learn than to talk, at least in this specific topic, because you are just you are working together for more than a year, and I'm just starting to look into the outcomes of the project. So I basically want to share a little bit about the institutions that I'm based on, and a couple of initiatives that we already have running there. Should we start a little bit about my state? As you can see, Isa is down here, Elaine is up here, and my state is called Pernambuco, and I'm northeast of Brazil.
And where's Sao Paulo from here?
Sao Paulo is here.
Oh, all right.
I think it's around here. I'm not sure entirely. But yeah, so with Pernambuco, yeah, with Pernambuco now you can go through the entire country.
Okay.
South, and then São Paulo, then Manaus, and then Pernambuco.
Okay.
And this is my city, Recife, and we have like old building, but we also have here. And this is a traditional dancing from Recife. It's called frevo. It's hard to find in any other part of Brazil. It's very traditional from there. And if you go during the carnival, you'll need to learn how to dance it, because everybody will be dancing. I don't know how. Everybody will be dancing frevo. And of course, I need to show that you can go over like 40 minutes from Recife. You can go to Porto de Galinhas. So all of you are invited to visit me in Recife, and I'll make sure that you have
I'm sharks there.
in this beach. No.
Okay, it's shallow. Okay.
Yeah, this is just fishes and people. It's fine to swim. Okay, and about as Alexandra mentioned, I'm based in two institutions. One is a public university. It's called Universidade Federal Rural de Pernambuco, UFRPE. And we have a big campus. It's hard to see here, but that this is the main building from the rector office, and all of these like buildings that I'm surrounding here, they are the university. So this main building is something around here in front of this camp here. And the computer science department is around here. So we are at the very beginning of the university. This university also have a zoo and a veterinarian hospital, because initially we were created the rural name, the university means that we initially were created with several courses related to rural stuff like veterinary, agriculture, and things like that. But now we have many different courses. A few numbers. He's in Portuguese, but it's just to show the size of the university. We have almost 14,000 students enrolled, and every year we get around 4,000 new students enrolled in the university. So I guess Craig said that Durham have like 20,000 people living in Durham.
Yeah, I think it depends on if it's during the term time versus during the break, right? Because there's a massive student population that comes and goes.
Yeah. So we are almost at the size of the city.
Okay.
It's big. This is the number for post-graduation. So it's quite small compared to the whole university. We have around 1,000 students combining PhD and master. 2,000 actually. This first part is master, this second is PhD. And we already have several like partnerships with other countries, especially Italy, Spain, Paraguay, and Portugal. So hopefully UK will be here in the next.
So when you say partnerships, what does it mean?
Student coming and going for universities.
Student exchange. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, in terms of risk, these reports are more focused on like students enrolled in the courses.
Mhm.
In terms of research, we have more partnerships,
Yeah.
but not with like long-term stays. So these numbers, the university means students who stays at least a semester. If it's less than a semester, it was not counted. And the second institution that I'm enrolling in it's called CISA. It's an innovation center that was created there in Recife. And the mission of CISA is to like using innovation and technology to solve real world problems. So there are several, I can tell more about CISA afterwards, but we have several like pillars of the institution, and I'm involved in this what they call innovation school. It's called school, but it is a university. Sometimes it's confusing to explain it to people abroad. But we have a couple of undergrad courses. It's computer science and design. We have a couple of professional masters. I don't know if you have professional masters here. But in Brazil, we do have professional masters and PhD.
Well,
Professional
like vocational, you mean like vocational? Is that professional?
It's not quite like here.
It's
Yeah, it's
related to a
different.
specific area, application area that they immediately get jobs in. So
Yeah,
that would be more
Actually, they are-
vocational.
the majority of our students are actually people already with jobs in the market. So they are not trying to do like academia
Mm.
pathway,
Oh.
and they are somehow try to learn new techniques to improve their performance in the market. So we have 2 professional masters and 1 professional PhD, but don't ask me what it means. We are still learning, it's new. And CISA, it started in Recife, and this is where I work, but it also has like different bases in different places, including Manaus, Elaine. I don't know if you know about that, but there is a office of CISA. in Manaus.
Yes.
We are expanding to Portugal as well, so hopefully, future, near future, we also have Portugal there. Okay, and about a few initiatives that we have in women science, I highlighted a couple of them, one from Rural and the other one from CISA. Oh, it's supposed to be before that slide. This is a few clients that we have in CISA. And all, it's not that we are not doing just development for them. It's more about innovation, science, and research. Okay, so the initiatives. I don't know if you're familiarized with the Woman Who Code initiative. This is a global initiative, and we have an instance of it in Recife. So basically, there is a colleague at UFRPE. I would just say in Portuguese, though, they will be confusing. One of my colleagues is the leader of this initiative in Recife, and they have some events with other groups from Brazil and also international groups. But the goal is to somehow put together a team of women who can develop projects, and they is like they are centralizing this knowledge and trying to find people who want to get something done in terms of development, and they can hire this group and based on the expertise of different women. The majority of the women are students in STEAM courses. It's not restricted to my university. It's the leader is there, but it's not only with this university. We have many computer science courses there in Recife. So yeah, so they have some talks, they have hackathons, and they are trying to get real world project to be developed by women. And about CISA, we have, I don't know if you also know about this global initiative. It's called Women Tech Makers. This is the global website, but we also have one instance, let's say, of this in Recife, and one colleague from CESA is leading it, and they have some. This is a couple of pictures of what they are doing there. So basically, there is a podcast where they invite different professionals, and almost all of them are women, and students or teachers or professionals from other fields. And the goal is to share their experience, not only as a female in STEAM, but also the specific thing that they are doing. So it's a combination of both of them. We have this podcast, it's in Portuguese, but I can share. And also this other picture is the end of one project called CESA Summer School that we have at CISA. It's basically different companies can hire like several internships at the same time, and during the summer holidays they will develop a project for these companies. And this picture is one specific run of this summer course that was focused on minorities. So you will see in women, but a few also other minorities were involved. So this is a couple of initiatives that were like somehow based on that global initiative called Women Tech Makers. Yeah, so this is a couple of things that we are doing there. I try to get some numbers related to the number of women enrolled in the courses, but I didn't manage to get them on time for the presentation. And one last thing.
Maybe you can share later if it's
Yes,
managed or.
Yeah. Actually, the data that is presented also have the data from my university. It's a national survey. We just need to filter for each university. Yeah, and one other thing is that CISA sent a few people to participate in this event. It's called Women's Day, but it's an event sponsored by United Nations. And it was a day with several activities and like with people sharing experience, but the main goal of this event is to help companies, help institutions to face this gender inequality. So this is a way of these research institutions to show that they are concerned and they want to address problems like this within the institution, but also create a mentality to spread this word and face this problem. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you very much,
Questions?
Rafaela. Okay, let's give a round of applause, virtual and physical. Okay, so I do have a very quick question. I mean, okay, I put you here on the spot, but do you know anything about the situation in the institutes themselves? Because these initiatives are your institutes, both of them, participating in things outside of the university, which is great. But the question is, what does it look like within the university? I mean, ratio of students versus female, male, or other races. The same for staff. Do you have any idea?
I tried to get the specific numbers, as I mentioned, but I haven't got. But I know for sure that it will be like for staff. It's easy because I know them. It's around 20% of females and 80% of males. And for students, I think the percentage is even lower. It's around 50%. But both of these initiatives, they are running within the institutions, but they are open to other people who want to join. But within the institution, they have the Woman Who Code headquarters. So the students there can join the initiative and also receive it. Yeah, but in CISA it's different because we have the design course. And in design, we have more females.
Right.
But I don't know if design is a mix of STEAM, but also humanity somehow. But in computer science, it's the same.
Okay.
I will get the exactly data.
Okay, I just wanted to know if you know, but it would be nice to share, I suppose. Yeah. All right. So thank you very much to all our speakers. The floor is open to general discussion and chat. So any comments, questions to anybody? We haven't heard from lots of other people. So I don't know if Lais or Eric wants to say something, or Fabienne, Shakira. If you have questions, comments. Have we even made a round of introductions? I don't think we have. Let's do a round of introductions now. Okay, so I'll just quickly go through. I mean, the speakers you kind of know, but okay, so I'm Alexandra, Cristea, and I'm sharing this because I'm PI on this project, but there's lots of other initiatives in women in science that I'm just participating in Durham, and it's really nice to see that all these things are happening. Okay, shall we just go around like this?
Yeah, my name is Rafael. I'm from Brazil. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, I enrolled into institutions there in Recife, and I'm really happy to be here. Looking forward to like make more connections and spread the word of the outcomes of this project, also my institutions.
And we should say also that your wife is a woman in tech as well.
Yeah.
So, you know.
And my daughter will be as well.
And your mom
She doesn't know, but she will.
is also all right. Ita, you've also heard as one of our speakers, but yeah.
So I'm Isabela Gasparini. I'm from UDESC, Santa Catarina State University. Next, I wanted to talk about just a thing that I think I didn't in the presentation. That you when you came to Brazil, I think was really, really important, as Elaine presented, because when
I'll thank you for this, but 1 second, because we
Okay.
had the discussion that let's do quick round. So last but not least, face to face, Fabienne.
Hi, I'm Fabienne Druitt. I'm a third year physics and computer science student at Durham University.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll
Hi,
come back-
Fabienne, I remember you. I
Yeah,
remember you from the other meeting. Yeah, nice.
it's good to have at least one undergraduate representative. Okay, so
Nice.
fine. So Elaine, do you want to be first to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Elaine Oliveira from the Federal University of Amazonas. I live in Manaus, Brazil.
Okay, Shakira.
Hi, I'm Shakira. I'm an administrator at Durham University, and I work on a number of projects. I've worked on a number of projects, including Messenger. I've been working with Alexandra, and I'm also one of the beneficiaries of one of the initiatives at computer science department called Tech Up Women, and I graduated from the course, and that's my first experience with tech, and yeah, I'm still here
Nice.
and hope
Nice.
to promote more of like this initiative,
Here in
both
this
professionally
virtual
and
world
personally.
from Canada.
Yeah. From Canada.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, Shakira.
Yeah.
Thank you for organizing all this.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so who wants to go next? Lais? You have a sound?
if you don't have sound, you can put in the chat.
Okay, or Eric, maybe if you can click the unmute button first.
I guess I have sound. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
So I'm Eric from UDESC. Me and Laís are in the group with Isabela and other students. I don't know what to say, but congratulations for the presentations.
Thank you, thank you. Now, this is your self-introduction. So which year are you in? Or
Oh, sorry?
are you PhD student? Are you undergrad student? Which year are
Oh,
you
yeah,
in?
I'm an undergraduate student, computer science in the 7th period.
What does it mean?
3.5.
Semester?
3.5. Okay, 3.5.
Sorry.
Many years. Okay, here in the UK, 3 years they're finished. So
For us, it's 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Eddie. Thank you very much. Okay, Lais, can you manage?
Hello, can you hear me?
Perfect. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, congratulations for the project. It's very nice to see how it ended up. Hello, I am Laís. I'm also a student in UDESC from the computer science bachelor, and I am in the 3.5 years as well, I guess. And that's it.
Thank you very much, Lais. Thank you. And
Thank
very
you.
good English, everybody. So, excellent to hear. Okay, sorry, Isabella, I interrupted you. Back to you because you wanted to comment.
Of course. No, because it was really interesting because when I came here in July, it was really nice. We did hybrid as well, and we have a lot of students that watch it. But when you came from, I think we actually spread the news of Messenger, right? So I think changes women's and students had, and we have a lot of volunteers in the project after that. More than we think of. Wow, it was actually really good. And actually, after I had to appear in the radio, local radio.
Oh, okay.
I have
You have to
the
send us the links or something.
yeah, in Portuguese. I
It's
had,
okay. I mean, there's lots of Portuguese people that Portuguese speaking people that access
yes,
it.
I was invited in a podcast from other university
Mhm.
to talk about my research and messenger and some things. That was a really good podcast from Universidade Federal UFRPE. So actually, I think we achieved to spread the
So if
initiative.
you have the recordings,
I have.
so then we can add them to the
Okay.
website, and also we can put onto the website the various talks and things, because I think we recorded pretty much everything, but we should.
Okay, I
to the
have
website, but
pictures and
that's
some
great.
records.
Yeah. All right, cool. That's nice. I mean, this is actually my question to the two of you, Elaine and Isa. You know, what did this project make any difference or not? And you know, we can talk very honestly about it,
Yeah.
and see where we did right, where we did wrong, and what we could do better in the future. Basically, I don't know if Elaine, you want to discuss
It made it, yes, it made a lot of difference in my life. I mean, it was basically the first contact with projects like this. I use it to see my colleagues, my other woman colleagues working on this project, but it was my first time. So, and it was really interesting. I had to think about things that I've never taught. I think that for our, I think if I had some more time to make more meetings with my colleagues and other students, it would be better, but life is always busy. And for the students, I think it was really, really meaningful when you came here. Some of them want to go abroad to do master and PhD. And it was important to see how they really need support. It's important to them to know that we are there for them, and I think this project was important for this too.
Yeah, for me, it was really nice to see how much your students loved you. I saw that.
I picked the best ones.
You're really a role model out there, so that's wonderful to see.
It was really nice, really nice. It was a surprise, actually. We do our job and we don't realize that we're doing good to other people, and it was really nice. It was really nice.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I think hopefully that if we make this collection of various resources that we've created and we put as much as possible on the website, you could reuse them in future, because I realize now it's not the greatest of time with holidays and everything, but and time difference, but hopefully we have some sort of little bunch of resources that can be reused in other contexts, right? Okay, so I did have other questions, but perhaps I don't know. Do you have any questions or comments or?
No, not really. I would just like to say that since I was there, I mean, I went to the meeting that happened during the summer that's just passed, and it's just nice to see how things have evolved even just since then. I haven't been like looking at the Messenger project for that long, and there still has been a major impact that you guys have had. So yeah, it's just incredible to see, really. So definitely thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you very much, and thank you
Thank
for
you.
all your help. Yeah.
Shakira has a question.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. It's very nice to see everyone again. Yeah, my question is directed to Elaine. Yeah, you did mention something about imposter syndrome, and it rang a bell in my head, because during my time taking the Tech Up program I was mentioning just now, there was a talk about imposter syndrome and just people feeling like they can't finish up, and they're not supposed to be where they are, like they can't do it. I just want to know what kind of plans do you think would be in place to help people out, especially students that feel that way? I mean, like, I know mentoring is a thing, but how do you think to first of all
Uh-huh.
encourage people to, you know, to speak about it, to just express themselves and, you know, seek help. And so like mentors can know how to pick up from that. I just want to know what you think about it.
More, in my opinion, if it's the girl is really struggling with that, and maybe she should seek for help for a psychologist, maybe. In another case, maybe a friend, a teacher, or someone who can she talk to, maybe it can help. Meetings, mentorship. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure.
One thing
But
that
help.
One thing that I noticed in Brazil when I traveled was that you guys are ultra social and have lots of little get-togethers and things like that, you know. So I think maybe ensuring that there's enough of get-togethers just with women that beside the other regular ones, because one of the problems is that we are sort of the tougher ones here, right? We've been through this process and we got where we are, and we got used to it. And as I said, this is the normality that we're used to, and we're working with it. But it is extremely hard to be in the minority. So when I went to Grace Hopper conference, for instance, and there were 20,000 women all around me, it was so weird and completely surreal. But they were all talking tech, and they were all interested in tech, and that's not the normality we work in. And when you are the odd one out, regardless if you know you're good or not good or whatever, it can be very, very demotivating. And one of the things that I realize with Tech Up, because I'm on a learning curve with this as well, is that it's not all about just giving the right content. For instance, when as teachers, it's not all about do we make our I don't know, slides clear enough, or is there enough? Are there enough examples? That's all very good, but if the students are not motivated, you can have the best presentation in the world, and they're just not going to listen to you. Definitely happened to me. Because it's much more important to motivate them and that thing, and then they can do amazing things by themselves. And this is one of the things that where we went really right with Tech Up, that the students, we managed to motivate them enough that they put quite a significant amount of work to go through that program. It wasn't easy, and I'm sure Shakira can tell you all about it.
Yeah.
But they've done it. And they worked really hard to do it. And that came from inside, from their motivation. We managed to get them there. And I think that was the greatest achievement. And then they were able to do it. So I think it's extremely important to get people, to give them that safe space where they can believe in themselves. It's not just, okay, before all this involvement that I had in Athena Swan, actually, which came many years before, I used to think, it's all about, if you're good enough, people are going to notice, people are going to see, you keep doing good stuff, and eventually it's going to get there. And okay, it sometimes works, but it's the really hard way. You do need, we live in a world where we keep needing a bit of positive feedback, and men get that easier because they're in the majority, they buddy better with each other, and you need that kind of network also for the women. So I don't know, it's just a suggestion, but I think having that kind of, let's go for coffee, or let's go for, I don't know, the dances or whatever you're going for with just the women, and have a chat and then invite a few students along. We try to do this in computer science, certainly we do it. And unfortunately, I think we're now, amongst other things, you guys are on holidays and we are on exam season and coursework deadlines. So we had a lot of girls who said, I'm so sorry, I would have liked to come, but unfortunately I have tons of deadlines. But this is our support network for them. And I don't know, it seems to be working to some extent. We can always do better, but it's a way of discussing a bit more freely, because when you, so I've seen with your students, right, they're looking up at you, Elaine, and they're so happy to talk with you and whatever. And they get friendly with you. I think you are building those relationships almost unconsciously. You're doing it anyway.
Unconsciously, yeah.
But it's do it also a bit of, on purpose and make sure that you don't, some are not left out because they're not all are going to be your students directly, and then they've never
True,
you and had that lovely chat with you, etc.
true, true.
Formal, and then they may be able to talk about other stuff as well and stuff. So it's just a thought, that those kind of things, because one of the things that we keep saying is, yes, if I have more time, or yes, if I have more money, but some things, they don't take too much time or too much money. They're still doable, and they're sort of light touch stuff. So that's just a thought.
Another thing, in these meetings with women, I try, since I have imposter syndrome, now it's less and less, but I try to explain that it's not only with them, it's with us as well. So we try to get boundary, and they can see that it's not only with them. And we try to, I try to do like this, I try to do like that. And we can share some initiatives to even each day less and less, and become more powerful.
I think this is really important to tell them, the students, that we have our weakness too. It was really important when I told one of the students some of my weakness and my struggles. It was important to them. I think it's important. We are not the strongest. We are not the super. I mean, we are super, but not always super. I mean, you understand me. We have our weakness too.
Yeah.
And it's important to share with them.
How you overcome those weaknesses.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. When in the follow-up from TechUp was things like peer, because you can't talk yourself with everybody. You can try mentoring to some extent, but it's not scalable. And at some point you need a mechanism, and peer-to-peer mechanism works very well. So for instance, you had those lovely girls giving talks and so forth and having graduated. They would be wonderful themselves as mentors, but also just students peer-to-peer, because they probably do it themselves anyway. They cluster and talk with other girls, but it could get a grip of and help them along for those that might feel isolated, and make them see that, okay, there are others in and that there are mechanisms and that they face similar issues, and nevertheless it's all in a way doable, and of course that's one of the things that we were also doing. I do have a question to Isa actually about Santa Catarina. So I saw that graphs. Thank you very much for showing those. In 2018, right? So you said there were more people declaring specific. It was disabilities, and there were different also race and so forth. So what is, because you mentioned a bit, but I didn't really understand what happened and why.
The data is from 2015 to 2019. So we think that the policies in Brazil are helping people to declare themselves, because we have some ways to enter in universities, public universities in Brazil. That is a percentage for Black people, for indigenous people, and for people from public schools. So we imagine that help to people to declare themselves. So we see the changing people, and sometimes people didn't declare at all. But I think people who before declare themselves to white people started to change. That's a good thing. Because we saw the improvement of these policies in Brazil.
Well, what happens? Do you have some special circumstances? You do give them, for instance, more time at exams if they declare disabilities and things like that?
No, but we have a special treatment for the exams. For example, if you are blind, you have some special test with the
Braille.
Yes, Braille. We have some special instance for disability people.
So, because here they usually get more time if they're declaring, and I think that
I don't
also
know
helps
if
with lots of
they
other
have
people
time.
declaring.
In Brazil, we do too.
Yeah,
More time, yeah.
it depends on the type of disability, of course.
Yeah, ADHD, for example, they do get more time. Autism, different exams.
And some
Sometimes
people are not
people
good at
have-
face-to-face and presentation, so they can get different types of
Yes.
Mm-mm.
exams, etc. Okay, any other comments or
Yeah,
questions?
Shakira.
yeah. Hello. So lovely to meet Professor Rafael for the first time. So I was gonna ask about the percentage of women in the university, but you said you don't have it. So I was just curious to know, do you have the issue of maybe women dropping out as well, maybe in the courses or anything like that? And are there like things in place to just make sure people don't drop out? And also, I'm just curious to know, do you also do short-term courses, or it's like completely going to be 4-year course or a master's program, like you mentioned, professional masters? And I'm just curious to know.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
the public
Yes.
university that I'm working, it has a specific, it's very specific context because there are, I think, 3 public universities that have computer science courses in my city. So we are receiving around 500 for all of these universities. We are receiving around 500 undergrad students every year for just for computer science. And my university is one with more social programs. So we receive a lot of low-income students, and which means that we have like a lot of dropout in general. So it's not just for a minority group, but in general. And so we have specific incentives from the university and from the government, like scholarships, like we have a scholarship for the first year of the course. So every student who can declare that came from a public school or they have low income, there is a threshold, I don't know right now, they receive a scholarship in the first year of the course. So we do
So
have,
they have issues, financial issues, not just the learning.
yes, financial issues.
Okay, that's different.
Yeah, it's different, but it's the context of my university, the public university. So yeah, we do have these programs, but it's not targeting like a specific group in terms of gender or race, but it's more for low-income students in general. And in the second institution, it's a private institution and it's very expensive. So I don't know if I know that in Edinburgh it's also happened. When I asked the dropout rate in Edinburgh, they say it's like 1%, because the students are paying very high fees. So it's they don't drop out that much, because otherwise they will lose everything that they did. Of course, the teaching is also good. And in the private university, we also experience something like that, because the dropout rates there in general is very small. So we can actually go case by case and check if the student needs some support. And it's easy to manage when you have a smaller number of students to do that.
When you say smaller, what are the numbers?
In terms of drop, in
No,
general,
yeah, students, yeah.
in
the
general,
class,
yeah,
first
there
year,
the classes are for 30 to 40 students.
computer science.
Yeah, completely. At 40 for computer science, 40 for
Wow,
design.
that's very small.
Yeah, it's small. So we have like the course has 4.5 years there. we have like 80 times 9 students in the university. So it's like 500 in total on the ground, and like 10% of them are like risking dropout. So it's like 5 or 10 students, like up to 50. So it's easier to contact them and see if they have any issue. And we have a service, like a psychology service within the university, so the student can go there and ask for help. So all of these that we are discussing here, they placed like it's a small department because it is a small university, but they have like psychology, they have some like course coordinator, but they also worked as like mentors for the students. And so it's easier to make sure that everything is on track because it's very small.
Yeah, here we don't have high dropout or anything like that because we do have a lot of support for the students. So it's, once you get in, it's unlikely. I mean, most of them will pass basically, and there's several levels. What we've done more recently in computer science, for instance, we have I'm not directly involved in that, but we have different types of programming. What is it, gold and black, and I don't know. There's all sorts of levels of programming that you can come in, because we noticed it's more likely that, for instance, males would have had more experience in programming just because not of the school they went, just they were more interested and were doing it and come at a different level than the females, for instance, and then they would just get demotivated because so I'm never going to reach that high or whatever. So it's good to give them some basis and then build up from there and get to this a similar level once they finished or higher, much higher level when they finished first year. So that's one of it. The other thing is we've been going through, and we're still going through what we call decolonization of the curriculum. So looking at everything we have in the curriculum, that it's not only targeted to some sort of majority of people. So for instance, because you were talking about the design course, right? And that I thought it was interesting that you say there are more women there. So it's just, I suppose they still learn computer science. It's just about the application in the end and the emphasis of things that are slightly different. And already this brings more women in because, for instance, we were looking at things like what examples we use. So say you're teaching Python or you're teaching a programming language, right? Are you going to be having all the examples from football and from beer and whatever? Because that sort of starts being a certain demographic. So that's it. Or will you talk about fashion and the colors automatically generated by computers for the high-end patterns of material, which is perfectly applicable, programming thing, but it would be a bit more inclusive and look at other parts of the population, so to speak. So just with simple things like that, where you're picking your examples, where role models we discuss, that's a biggie. I mean, the role models in the university, but also whenever you're talking about people of science with some kind of impact, are you always taking only male examples? It's true that there are more of them. What with this kind of misogynism going on for many centuries. But even so, there are some there, and they're quite strong because they had to fight their way through. So it's worth doing some sort of slight positive discrimination to give other examples as well. And then that creates a different kind of more inclusive atmosphere, the same with people of color or whatever. So, do you have any examples of that? And if your course doesn't, but has only white blokes, then you think, okay, maybe I can change something. And these are very minor things, and it can be done at the level of each individual course, but it gives a different atmosphere. It puts people in a different atmosphere and gives a different message altogether.
It's very challenging to do this in Brazil because
everybody loves football.
Yeah, this is one thing. But the other thing is that, especially in the public universities, the professors that they have a lot of freedom to decide what they want to do. So even if it's something that the government wants to do, even if something that the university wants to do, the professor still has, they have this freedom to decide not to do this, and he won't be fired at all. So he won't be penalized, he won't be, it's like, yes, you can say which courses I'm gonna teach, but the way that I'm gonna teach is, I will decide. So it's more, we have to convince and to show the importance, but nobody can come here and say you won't be promoted if you don't do this, you won't go get the grant, you won't go.
Yeah, it's, I understand, and to some extent, I'm ultra envious that they have so much freedom. We certainly don't have that much freedom, but at the same time, it's a carrot and the stick, right? So one is that somebody from above tells you, and the other one is you also have daughters that you would like to succeed. You have family members of females. You have friends. You have, so you start thinking, is it worth it that I work so unilateral? Why would I possibly do that? Okay, it's more convenient for me, but maybe a tiny bit of effort makes a big difference.
I think people who actually do this, most of them don't realize.
Yeah, I know. So starting the discussion in the first place is the first. Discrimination. I mean, we had these discussions before. After I wasn't there, but it's not just the men discriminating, for instance, against women. It's women discriminating against women, and because we are all working with some stereotypes, and if you have I mean, when we're trained specifically in EDI and support for hiring panels, because you see a black candidate versus a white, or a female versus male, and your stereotype is, oh no, it's computer science, so we will look first for white looks, and that's it. And just with similar kind of performance, we probably automatically tend to think, oh, the male, because it's coming across differently. So we have to be trained. I mean, nowadays everybody has to be trained when they're sitting on, for instance, hiring panels, because it's a standard that we all have been using the same stereotype for too long, and it's really, really hard to even realize that you're doing it. You're just automatically doing it. I mean, it's amazing. It's very, I don't know, hilarious or sad. I don't know, but Princess Romania is also very much originally Romanian, and the stereotype is also very much towards male. And I go there with my husband. I'm professor. He's assistant professor. All our guests, professors, support, talk to him, not to me. Yeah. It's just amazing. I'm just sitting there smiling, but and he keeps referring. He says, "Well, I don't really know this. Perhaps you want to ask her." So, but anyway, you know, because it is such a stereotype, and it's impossible. It's very, very hard to realize you're doing it. People are just doing it automatically. They need to start first checking themselves and seeing that they're doing it, and then maybe there's space to make the change. Otherwise, we just go on like this, and it's not ideal, obviously. Because I think companies, I mean, one of the things we had with Czech conferences, companies started realizing that diversity is not something, let's be nice, people of different races or different colors or different genders. It's about actually you understand your product better, because your product is not just for one part of the population, it's for all, and having different perspectives will give you much richer information, and things that you're completely blinded, somebody will come and ask the question and realize, oh, aha, we have to change something. So this diversity is needed, but and there is an appetite for it, certainly here in the UK. I don't know to what extent this also has been starting to be in Brazil and so forth. But then the question is how you get there. We still need to train people. So in order to get the trained people, you have to get them in, because if they feel like this is not the place for them, then they're going to go and have a career somewhere else. So, and maybe tech was actually the right place. You know, so at least get those people in that for whom it's the right place. Anyway, we're slightly over the time. So is there anything else? Last
I just have a comment, no question. I just thought of something now. I thought that like 10 years ago, the interest for tech was less because people really didn't know like the career progressions. Like when you become when you study computer science, then what? Maybe you want to be a professor, or you want to go into academics. Nobody thinks that, okay, you can do any other thing. So I find that in the last couple of years, there are now like new opportunities for people to actually, get high paying jobs. So I find during the Tech Up program, I was opportune to have like colleagues that were actually older. Some of them were like already maybe in their 50s. They were looking for a new turn in their careers. And it was really nice to hear them say, well, I've just been doing the same job because I just didn't think there was something else I could do. There was no, if you study economics, you have to, be that for the rest of your life. So I find that it's also a very good approach when, speaking with young people, because I know we are very concerned about the money. So a lot of people are looking for how to start their, they want to see what they're working towards. And just to add to it, the reason why people are moving across the globe now is because the tech topic is loud. So everybody knows if you have certain qualifications in tech related roles, you'd move. So I have like maybe those that within the course, during the Tech Up program, I studied business analytics, which I'm very proud of because it's not something I'll do on a normal day. But I find that like those around me, I found like a few young people that actually switched their roles right after university to tech roles, because they're like, okay, this is a real field now where I can actually start to work almost immediately, and I can choose my hours. I don't have to, do conventional roles and things. So I just needed to chip that in because that's really what's making a lot of young people come back into tech, but they just don't know how to stay in it. So, and yeah, so that's what I wanted to say. It's just a comment.
Thank you very much, Shakira.
Yeah.
Okay, any last comments from anybody else online or not? If not, we're going to break now, and we're going to start again at 3 o'clock with a bit of tea and coffee and making sure that all the connections work all right. And then at 3:15, we're going to have Tahani, who is a PhD, has graduated, so has
Oh, really?
from Durham, and she's going to tell us about her life as a woman in tech. So, and then we'll have a little bit more general discussion. So if there's any questions that pop into your minds after this, then you can come back with them, of course, and have a general discussion. Yes. Oh, yes. I wanted to ask. Yes. What does it mean for for others? So 3 o'clock means 12 o'clock for Joinville, and I don't know.
And 11.
Every time.
11 at Manaus.
You get a bit of sleep, hopefully. Okay, and what is it in Canada?
8 a.m. 8 a.m.
Oh, good.
So 8 a.m.
Waking up.
Yeah, it's gonna be a whole long day. Yeah, but it's nice. It's in the